Hello to everyone who can see us. We're just going to go get one more platform going here. And I think we are actually set, guys. Just want to make sure it goes. Give us a second. Yep, I think we are up and running, if I am correct. So let's take a look. Yes, we are good. We are good. So hello, everyone who's tuning in. We're going to give a second for everybody to come popping in here. We have all of our friends over on YouTube. We've got our friends over on Facebook. We've got our friends on Periscope. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you all so much. We appreciate all of you tuning in, your patronage. We're going to get into what the show is and what it's all about here in just 1 second. Here we go. All right. And our chat is open. Boom. We got that one going. We got this one going. And we're just trying to get everybody set and ready to go. All right. One more. And here we are. And we're connecting over here, so we'll be able to watch all the different feeds. We'll be set. So welcome to Knowledge from Beyond. I'm Chris Moonie, and over here we have...
And I'm Lynn David Livsey, your full spectrum Gnostic. And what I do is I'm giving you secret society information. And today we have a super heavy... if we can survive this show, we're doing good.
This is really deep.
Super deep and probably very bad. And introduce yourself.
So guys, yeah, again, my name is Chris. You guys know me as Moonie. Paranormal investigator, author, lecturer. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And we started this show because we wanted to really get the secret society information out there. We wanted to give you guys a deeper look into what's really happening out there in this great big universe, and some of it might blow you away, but other things are going to really fascinate you. So I encourage you to listen with an open mind and hear both of our perspectives, and we'll go from there. But tonight's subject matter is pretty intense stuff.
Super intense, and we are ready to get started because we have a lot to cover and we don't have much time. I still have not disclosed where I get my information from or who I'm working with or for. Yes. But we still got to have sure on that. But I was told that I had to contact these people, and I did, and they did not respond. They just got upset. Uh-oh. So if they're going to get upset, then let's make them very upset. So let's just go that way.
We're saying go
and it's
for
all
it.
Good. Are we good over here?
We are. It's just this is not pulling up, but everybody on Periscope, bear with us. We're trying to get the feed up so that we can see you guys. And we will make sure that we're getting everybody's questions. Hello to everybody over on Facebook. Hello to everybody who's going to be tuning in on YouTube. You can check us out over there as well. But we are just getting the Periscope feed up, and just hold on to your questions for a second. We will be there very soon.
Do you want me to start, or do you want me
please
to go ahead
for
and
it. Yeah, we're broadcasting. It's just to get into here so I can see the questions. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so what we're going over today, we're going over understanding immortals, vampire, incubus, succubus, Lilith, and the Great White Brotherhood. Boy, that's a lot of information. So, as we normally do, we go back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. We always go back to the beginning. And this, we're not going back to the Anunnaki. Maybe we are going back to the Anunnaki. Uh-oh. We're going back all the way to Adam and Eve.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay.
So, we all know about that guy named Adam. You know, when God created man, he created, there is something you don't know about. Okay, we all know in the Bible it said that, there's two creations. In chapter 1, it talks about how God took clay from the earth and made male and female.
Okay.
And then in chapter 2, it says that Adam was lonely and he took a rib and made Eve. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a discrepancy. And Eve was a woman, a comforter of man. Okay. She was not a female.
Okay.
So there's something different between a female and a woman. And this is not me talking. We're going into Jewish mysticism. There is a book called the Alphabet of Sir.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Which is a Jewish book. She was not a female. Okay. So there's something. And I'm getting. Can we turn that?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Okay. So. What happened is the Jews believed that Adam had two wives. Mm. Okay. This is not Lynn Livsey talking. If you get upset, you take it up with them. But this is very old in Judaism, is that they believe that Adam had 2 wives. Adam had his first wife, which was a female. And we're going to define what a female is.
Okay.
When God took clay from the earth and made male and female. They was both equal.
Okay.
Male and female are equal. And they argued all the time.
Okay.
And according to the Jewish book, the Alphabet of Sir, what broke them up was, pardon my French, but they argued over everything. And the argument that broke them up was when they was going to have intersex, who was going to be on top. Okay. And Lilith wanted to be on top, and Adam insisted he would be on top, and they couldn't agree who was going to be on top.
Wow.
And she fled the garden.
Oh boy.
Okay, because she was not going to be dominated by man. And this is what a feminist is today. A feminist is equal to man in every way. Okay, they are not subordinate to man, they are equal to man. Okay, they want the same pay, they want the same everything, because they are equal. This goes all the way back to Lilith.
Yes.
So let's talk about what that book, The Alphabet of Sir, and you can look that up and read it for yourself. And you get mad at them. Don't get mad at me. Okay, it's not my book. Okay.
Right.
But when she left the garden, Adam was crying. The angels was sent to bring her back.
Okay.
She refused to go back to the garden. And they threatened her with several threats of what would happen if she would not go back. And the final threat was that if she would not go back, that they would kill so many of her children. Okay, and she didn't care. Nothing worked, and there was no getting her to come back. So after that, Adam was still very depressed and crying and everything. And this is when God made Adam go to sleep, took one of his ribs, and created woman.
Okay.
A woman is a comforter of man. She is not equal to man. Her job is to comfort men. So there are women who are comforter of men. Now, a woman is not equal. They do not want to be paid equally. They don't want to do man jobs. They don't mind being one step below. But those females, okay.
Yeah, different story.
Different story completely.
Right.
So when Adam made Eve, Adam was very happy. But the problem is Lilith found out. And when she found out, she was totally pissed is not a good word.
Oh boy.
Okay. And she cursed all of their offspring. And she wanted to get even.
Okay.
And what she did is the fallen angels was already on the earth at that time. She met the head of the fallen angels. They haven't all the way come down yet. But she talked to the head of them.
Okay.
Because they didn't come down until later.
Okay.
But she talked to the head of the fallen angels. And let me give you a name. What his name is.
Oh boy.
Okay, we all got to be official here. We all got to, okay.
To say this, right?
Oh, I guess. We're going to get in trouble anyway.
That's true.
The head of the fallen angels, his name is in Sanskrit. Shemihaza. In Latin, his name is Satania. In English, it's Satan. This is why we already went over why Superman wears the S on his chest.
Well, yeah.
And they always ask him in every movie, does the S stands for Superman? He always say no. It stands for my family. His family is he's still ruled by Satan. Okay. And that is his family. Okay. Lilith made it with the head of the fallen angels. And their offspring was produced. Okay. Their offspring, since they're half and half, is not 100% human. Okay. Because they had, let me tell you some secrets you don't know. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
The angels, we have red blood. Okay, we can do a test on a Moonie if you want to, and cut him, and we can make sure that his blood is red. He probably
Let's not do that test, guys. I don't want to do that test.
Okay, but the angels had blue blood. Okay.
Why did they have blue blood?
I don't know. Why do octopus have blue blood?
Because they're not of the earth.
Okay, I guess. Okay, so I'm not going there. But they have blue blood.
Okay.
And all of her offspring had blue blood. This was the blue bloods of royalty. Okay. And this is where these blue blood people come from. And these blue bloods is where, okay, and all the offspring of Lilith was split into two categories. The males are called incubus, and the females are succubus. Yes. Okay, and this is mentioned in the Bible. They talk about incubus and succubus. Okay, so this is how they was produced. Now the problem is with any hybrid, they cannot produce their own children, and this is why it's mentioned in the Bible. We're back in that book again, that the Israelite women would wear pendants and would wear pendants to scare off Lilith. And this is where the lullaby comes from, what is a lullaby to keep Lilith away. And this is why babies must be guarded at all times, because they will steal infants and young babies to convert them into their babies.
So a lullaby became a lullaby.
Yeah, it's called a Lilith-by is what it actually is.
A Lilith-by.
A Lilith-by, because you're trying to keep Lilith away. And people used to wear pendants, which talked about in the Bible, amulets to keep Lilith away.
Oh, boy.
And we still put pendants on babies to keep things away.
That's true.
Especially in Spanish culture and all kind of culture.
Saint Christopher.
Right,
yeah,
okay. Because you have to keep these things, and protecting of babies have always been a problem,
right?
Because they need to produce their offspring. So, everybody lost me so far, or this is clear as much so far?
It's interesting. There's been a lot of comments in here, and I apologize. Periscope, we're going to grab you here in a minute. We're just running with a browser issue, but we know you're there. Saying hi to everybody. Really quickly, I just want to give you some of the comments people are make. Brett. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brenda May is agreeing that you're never going to tell. Okay. And then hold on, I've got some good stuff in here. So a question: did he do the same for Adam's sons? Was a question.
What do you mean Adam's sons?
The different sons of Adam. So I'm not sure what that's about. And then we had another. Everybody. This Veronica knew Satin. She knew that before you said it.
Right.
Renata said Lucifer. Same thing. Correct. Mindy says, I'm a woman. I know I can't do the same as a man equally.
Okay.
And then we had Cindy saying great info tonight. She says really interesting. And then Carrie wanted to know if the blue bloods were Smurfs.
Yes. And we're going to talk about, that's a different subject. All these blue things are related to blue blood, because let's talk about how you convert a person over to this and what they do with a baby. Okay. Right. So if you ever want to get bitten, okay, the problem with joining a vampire cult, which we're going to talk about later, vampire cults still exist, is the problem of what they call being on the table or at the table. When they invite you to join, you do not know if you're on the table or at the table. If you're at the table, they're inviting you to join and they're going to infect you. If you're on the table, you're dinner. Okay, so they can either, do vampires have to drink blood? The answer is no. They need an extremely high, their blue blood require an extremely, extremely high amount of iron. There are certain vegetables they can eat, like pomegranates and beets and all this stuff. That's not fun. You get what I'm saying? It's like we are meat eaters. We can eat any type of meat. We can eat cows. We can eat deer. We can eat rats. We can eat possums. Okay, we're picky on the ones we want to eat and the ones we don't want to eat.
Yes, true.
Vampires like warm blood. They don't like cold blood. They prefer animal blood over over vegetables, and they prefer human blood over animal. And if they do animals, they go to certain animals.
Can it be dead blood, or does it have to be from a living animal?
Okay. We're not going to go deep into this subject, but what they try to do to make the blood sweet is if you scare the person or get their adrenaline up before you drink their blood, but to them it's like sugar. So normally all these groups, especially vampires, they like to torture their victims before they feast on them to make the blood sweeter. Okay.
So
you get what I'm saying?
They play with their food, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, you got to get that sweetness. Okay.
Oh,
you get what I'm saying? And when you're being tortured or scared, are those hormones going to your blood, and then they're able to... It just makes it so much more delicious that way.
God.
Okay.
This is scary stuff.
So you're on the table or at the table. So...
Okay.
What is vampirism? Vampirism is a human which has been infected by the blue blood of a vampire.
Okay.
So when they're very picky about who they let join or not join. So 90% of the time when they bite you, they kill you by draining you. If they want you to join, they will just bite you and infect you.
So it's just one bite?
And your bite,
Just one bite?
Well, they suck a little bit of blood and they put a little bit of their blue blood into the wound.
So it's like they
and that blue blood is an infection.
Okay.
And that blue blood this is very scary. I'm going to tell you the secret. Okay, this is why the Bible say to gain mortality you must to gain immortality you must strip off more mortality, because all vampires have tasted death.
Yeah.
The conversion process takes 72 hours. Or what the Bible refers to as 3 days and 3 nights. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a book called the Aquarian Bible if you want to go deep into this subject, which we're not going to go into because I'm not going to offend people, about this conversion process of 72 hours or this 3 day and 3 night thing.
I don't think people would like that. Let me read a few comments from the chat room and we'll move on. Mary Rose Scott says, gotcha, but makes me worry. I have lots of royal family and I'm related to them, and I don't really feel evil.
Vampires, I didn't say they're evil. But what we call the blue bloods today, because you're talking now, who is Lilith? Lilith was the mother, she's the mother of all vampires, all incubus, all succubus, all of that. She is known throughout history as a title. Her title is the Queen of the Damned. Okay, that is her title. Okay.
Wow.
Now, she's been around because she only had one fear. That she had the fear that she would die. Because Adam and Eve still was in the garden and had the tree of life.
Right.
She didn't have a tree. And that was one deal that she made with the angels, that if they helped her and she mated with them, they would allow her to live forever.
Okay.
So she never died.
Wow.
She is still alive. She's still around.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the problem is being around for thousands of years, it had taken a quite toll on her. People talk about how great and how wonderful and how beautiful she was and how... Listen, that was thousands of years ago. People who have seen her now, they don't really say that. They say at first they see this illusion of a beautiful lady, but once you look deep into her, you can see that ugly, wrinkled up person behind that disguise. Because she's thousands and thousands of years old.
So it's just like a front, basically.
But she's still here. Okay. Now,
I was going to say, Chris Cummings asking, isn't our blood blue until it mixes with oxygen?
Okay. When we there are certain accounts in the Bible. Let's go to the book. We're going to talk about certain people who are born. Okay. And they're all born the same way.
Okay.
When you had, who was his name? Okay. You had, we talked about this before. you had the grandson of one of Noah's grandsons. No, he was the son of Methuselah. His wife was bathing in the river with her, which we talked about before, with her fern breath, and one of the guys came through and saw her. We ain't gonna say who he was. It was Enki. He put her sleep on her, and then when she woke up, she was pregnant. And then what happened was, they talk about in the book of Enoch that a strange one was born among them, because when the midwife went to deliver the baby, there was a flash of light. The baby rose above the midwife. When the eyes opened, it was as bright as the sun. And the book of Enoch says that the baby was moon colored. We talked about this before. And they went to talk to Methuselah. Methuselah said, go and talk to Enoch. And they went and talked to Enoch, and Enoch talked to God and said, a strange one was born among us. We want to know if it's one of ours and one of yours. He said, raise him as one of yours. He didn't say he was one of yours, but he said, call his name Noah. Now, we have the exact same description if you go halfway around the world. When you have baby Krishna was born, you had Krishna's mother was in labor. There was a flash of light. Krishna rose above the midwife, his eyes open as bright as the sun, and he was known as the blue child. He slowly turned regular color, but when he was a baby, he was blue.
Wow.
Okay. And that is what moon color is. That is blue moon.
Yeah.
Okay. You have another account of this. If you read the Protovidion of Jesus, which is an apocryphal book, that when Jesus was born in a cave, most people think he was born in a manger, but Jesus was really born in a small cave that was being used as a barn.
Really?
Okay. That's the reason they have that little place over there. You can go to Jerusalem and the Guato. You can visit the little cave where Jesus was born that was turned into a little barn. Most people do not know that. They think it was a barn, a freestanding barn.
Right.
But it was a little cave that was turned into a barn.
Interesting.
That Catholics call the Guato. Okay. So when Jesus was born, according to the Providion of Jesus, when Simone? Okay. Simone was the midwife. Jesus. She went to deliver the baby. There was a flash of light. He rose above the midwife. And everything like that. And Simone stuck her finger into Mary, and she was still a virgin. That's the reason Jesus have half brothers and half sisters, because he was not of Mary.
Wow.
Because Mary was still a virgin after the birth of Jesus.
That's incredible.
Because Simone stuck her finger in there, which I'm not suggesting you do, and she was still a virgin. Okay. So, this is where this blue blood came from. Now, after these people have had so many kids, that's the reason people are not blue anymore. But they always talk about their lineages and where they come from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they are traced back. The only one who, this is why Prince Charles says that he's a direct descendant of King David. Now, if you read any history book, England was conquered by the Normans from Norway.
Right.
That doesn't have nothing to do with Jerusalem. Okay, Norway and Jerusalem is not even close. Okay, how is he a descendant of King David?
Right.
They don't want to talk about, because after the death of Jesus, Mary Magdalene arrived in southern France on a ship with no sails and no oars. Maybe that was a nuclear submarine. I don't know. And she married into the Merovingian dynasty. And all the royalty of Europe is a descendant of the Merovingian dynasty.
Interesting.
And that is what that book, what was the name of that book? There was a movie about that.
Book of Enoch.
No, about the Holy Grail and everything.
Yes.
We're not talking about Monty Python, are we?
No, we're talking about that book. But anyway, all the royalty of Europe is a descendant of the Merovingian dynasty.
Okay.
And the Merovingian dynasty is the reason why they say they are blue bloods. Because to be royal, you have to be a descendant of the Merovingian dynasty. And even though the entire Christian world thought that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, in southern France, she was worshipped as a saint for hundreds of years because they knew she was not the prostitute. And now the Catholic Church have acknowledged that they made an error and she was not a prostitute. Okay, go ahead.
We had a question from Periscope.
Yes.
Comments, Margaret West says, interesting theory. So she's actually finding it very interesting and liking the information that's coming through.
Yes.
I just want to say on Periscope, thank you for the super hearts. We've got a lot of people sending
Thank
super
you.
hearts. Thank you, Misty. Thank you, everybody on Periscope. And if you have any questions or any comments, send them in. I am manning the chat room in Periscope.
I want to read a few quick ones here, Livsey, before we move on.
Yes.
Janet clears it up because she's actually a nurse. She says, no, your blood has oxygen in it when it leaves the heart. If you take blood from the arteries from the heart, it's bright red, and it's brighter red than if you take blood from the vein.
Yes.
Head back to there, it's darker red. And I'm sorry.
Is it off?
Oh, okay. I thought you said And Daphne says, I was always taught that it was blue until it hits the air. Wayne says, and when we had the flood of Noah, the Aztecs had the year of the jaguar. Just as a side note on that. And let me see here. Mindy says she actually knows a woman who's blue in color like the moon.
Okay, but this is why the Smurfs are blue, because they are royal. All these, and if you notice, which I'll tell you a secret, it's the same blue color. The Smurfs, Krishna. If you look at all these pictures, now if it's just blue, it should be different shades of blue. They know the exact color of the blue. They're all the same blue color. Okay.
Cassandra has a question.
Yes.
Says, could you be a vampire and not know it?
Okay, today you have something called these energy vampires and all this stuff, and we're not going into energy vampires. We're going into the real ones right now. Okay.
So if
energy
you were a vampire,
vampires,
you would know it 100%. The
okay.
ones we're talking about right now.
Okay.
The ones that we're talking about, like
The ones we're talking about
that's
are a
what she-
descendant. Okay, now the problem is, since if you're 8th or 9th or 50,000th descendant of vampire, you may not be it might be so low in your blood count that you don't have all the characteristics. And this is the secret. There's something called vampire clubs. Okay. The number one place for vampire clubs in America.
New Orleans.
New Orleans, New York City, and Houston, Texas. You have a lot of vampire clubs. The problem with going to any vampire club, which some reporters tried to find out back in the 70s and end up disappearing, which ones are real and which ones are not. Okay. And boy, will you find out the hard way. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Because now, you can't tell.
like from dusk till dawn.
Okay.
Right.
And a lot of these people, it depends on how much blood you have and how close of a descendant you are. Now, before we get too deep into vampires, because when you talk about vampires, you only talk about one type of person or one type of thing.
I had an experience with a vampire, Livsey.
Go ahead, tell me about it.
It was crazy. I'll tell you the story. So, just really quickly, I was in New Orleans. Now, I've had a few different. I actually have some good friends that claim to be vampires. It's a whole different thing.
Okay.
But this was an experience. Dee was with me. We were actually walking across the street from our hotel. And I've been to New Orleans a bunch. We're going from our hotel over to the casino across the street. And I was walking across the street, and all of a sudden I felt just a presence like I've never known before.
Okay.
Oh, and I turned back, and there was a tall, thin man in 1700s garb with the whole fluttery, fluffy thing happening here. I think it was a red felt jacket staring at me. And I turned back to say something, and I turned back around, and he was gone.
Who's gone?
Okay.
Now, it wasn't a ghost. I know it wasn't a ghost. I know it wasn't a demon. I know it wasn't an interdimensional creature. It was a vampire. And it was tracking me and following me all the way through the streets of New Orleans.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we're on a side note, but I will take this side issue. there are 5 continents, as we know, or 7 continents, 7 continents.
Yes.
There are 7 gateways to hell.
Okay.
The gateway for all of North America is located in New Orleans.
Yes.
Okay, that is the main gate.
I believe that.
To get
talked
down
about
there.
That.
Okay.
We have talked about that.
And that is why they want to tour you on those cemeteries and tour you to here. And not everyone comes back from those tours. Unfortunately, you gotta always take somebody with you. You just you don't want to be sneaking off to one of those tours in New Orleans where they say we're going to take you to some special places and show you special things. You might not come back if you didn't let people know where you're going, and you got to be very careful.
Got it.
There's a lot of weird things going on.
There.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but that is the main gate to get downstairs, is in New Orleans. Now, back to our subject.
Back to the subject.
Okay, now, the vampires are not what you think they are. There was a war between something called the movie. We always talk about the movies are always secret society. You have seen a secret society film and you didn't even know about it. The movie Twilight is about the war, not between vampires and werewolves. It was about the war between vampires and immortals that took place. And vampires lost the war. So they are now under the rules of the immortals. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, immortals, all of them are okay. The difference between the reason the war started. Okay, the thing that all these creatures of these vampire creatures fear is what happened to their old homeland of long time ago. Now, even the Romans used to talk about the strange incident in the Roman province of Transylvania. There was a lot of things going on even in Roman days that was going on over there.
Wow.
Okay. And
Renata's from over there.
okay, it got so bad over there where you had Count Baccarii taking baths in human blood and you had Count Draco, which we know as Dracula, impaling people and drinking blood and eating while he's impaling hundreds or thousands of Turkish troops and all this stuff. It got so bad that the people of that area are revolted. And this is what you see in the Dracula movies and in the Frankenstein movies, where they actually picked up pitchforks and they actually ran those people out of their area.
Can you give a little bit on Bathory? People are usually fascinated.
Okay, Count Baccarii. She was trying to stay young. And what she would try to do, she would invite the virgins of her area to visit her temple. And she would drain their blood and take baths and take baths in virgin blood. And that was her way of keeping young. Okay, and it got so bad that people was complaining, but she was a royal blood. You couldn't do anything to her. She was above the law. You couldn't do anything. Yeah. So it got so bad, and the people was revolting, and they was threatening to overthrow. So the big guy, he could not kill her, the ruler. Right. What he did is he walled her into her castle. He walled her in. Okay. Wow. And around 10, 15 years ago, they knocked down the wall to see where her body's there, and her body was not there. So no, it was not there.
It wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
So what happened? She's still out there?
Yes.
Well, they probably, they take care of their own. Okay, with vampires, I'm going to tell you, vampires are under rules, as I told you. They're under the rules of the, you have the immortals. We're going to talk about immortals in a minute. Right. But if you're a bad vampire and you're doing things, what started the war is what was going on in those books that was written back in the 60s, where you had, what's his name? Luther, I can't think of his name now, but he would put 100 people in a room, and then he would jump in there and be ripping people's head off, and they would have these feasting parties.
She's still alive.
Okay. And this is what was giving vampires a very bad name. They was doing all this killing of people in masses.
But it's hard to have a good name when you're a vampire. There's not a whole lot.
True, but the problem is they're afraid of the cattle getting restless. They got ran out of Transylvania. And then a lot of the vampires, just the reason you see in these movies where a lot of these weird looking people moved to England and they brought their caskets with them because they was chased out of Transylvania.
Right.
And then you start having all these massive killings in England and people start, it's unacceptable to be doing this stuff. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So, you're under rules now.
Okay.
If you're a bad vampire and you're feasting and killing people and doing all this stuff, they do not call 911. They have their own enforcers that go after these bad people. This is what the Secret Society movie about that black guy who's Blade is all about. He's a vampire enforcer. And if you're a bad vampire, they have their own police force called enforcers, and they will take care of that problem. Okay. You understand?
You're freaking me out, Livsey.
Okay. That is what Blade is. So these Blade people truly exist. They are vampire enforcers.
I think you just blew Moonie's mind.
Okay. So if you're a bad vampire, they will take care of that problem, if you know what I mean. They have their ways.
And they have to do it their way. I know they have to do it their way because that's the only way that they can sort of coexist.
True.
Yes.
And this is what the immortals. Now, let's talk about the difference between
truth.
immortals and vampires and why they have the story. Now, first let's talk about, for this talk, I showed a picture. This picture, let's make the picture a little bit larger.
Okay.
That little tiny picture.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to do this now.
Yes.
Just make it a little bit bigger. Excellent. Right there. Okay. You can scoot it over so it's not blocking. Okay. That is our friend Bavalaski. She was getting all of her secret information from her Mahatmas, which was these ascended masters. Ascended masters, immortals, one and the same. Okay. They are they're the same people. And that's why these ascended masters are immortals. The most famous immortal is Saint Germain. Okay. He has been around for at least several hundred years.
Right.
At least. Okay. And those Mahatmas, or you can call them ascended masters, these are vampires.
Okay.
But there's a difference between immortals and vampires. And this has been documented about Saint Germain 1,000 times. He's always been attending festivals and giant events for hundreds of years. But he never eats. Okay. He only drinks, and he brings his own beverage. They drink blood out of glasses. Okay. They do not bite people. These are civilized vampires.
Wow.
Okay. You get what I'm saying?
Ugh.
They drink blood out of glasses. Okay.
Daphne, I read the
Biting
comments
people are unacceptable behavior. Okay.
That's one way to coexist.
And to let you know, you should know this, this is why they have all these plasma centers everywhere today. Okay. Because it is not illegal to drink blood. They have caught people with suitcases of blood, and there's nothing, it's no law against that.
Oh my
They even caught this
God.
one guy in Florida that caught this girl. He was draining her blood and drinking it, and she escaped out of the restroom and called the police. They only arrested him for kidnapping charges.
Oh my God.
Because drinking her blood was not a crime. You get what I'm saying, don't you? Okay.
Livsey, we gotta
Yes.
we gotta do some questions here because people are losing their minds.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Really quickly. I had it here. Okay. Are the black-eyed children a form of vampire?
No. The black-eyed children was our replacements that was created to take our place, and they flunked the test. And they're going to remain helpers for the Greys as of right now. And we're going to be allowed to cross.
Ballerina asks, I didn't know that Blade was real. No wonder there are so many missing people. Yikes.
But these Blade type people are enforcers for these vampire creatures. If you're a vampire and you need blood, you need to buy your blood just like we buy our steaks. They need to buy their blood and they can consume their blood that way. Biting people is unacceptable behavior, and if you're a bad vampire, the enforcers will get you.
Oh, wow. And Cassandra's asking, are the immortals the fallen angels?
Immortals are descendants of Lilith and the mating of Lilith and the head of the fallen angels. Okay.
Got it. Okay, we can move on.
But the immortals, okay. One giant difference also between vampires and immortals. Immortals drink blood out of glasses.
Right.
They're civilized. They see us as their children because all the immortals was once mortal.
Okay.
They was converted. Okay. So they see us as their children. They want to rule over us and take care of us as their children.
Right.
Vampires just see us as cattle, and if you're hungry, well, there's a cow over there, and you understand what I'm saying, don't you?
Between the aliens and the vampires, we're really not very high on the scale.
Okay.
No.
So vampires think very low of us because they have made the conversion, and they think that we're just a food source. That's the reason the war was fought, but they're now under the rules. If you need blood, you need to buy your blood supply.
Wow.
And there's enough plasma centers. You can sell your blood and feed the vampires, and they will pay you for your services.
Wow.
But it's not allowed for them to go around biting people. That is now unacceptable behavior.
They're
So
more
you're telling me
civilized.
these plasma centers.
They sell the blood to anybody, everybody. That's the difference between donating blood and donating and selling plasma.
So these vampires have an endless supply of.
Because
plasma
we
to go
have
around.
blood and we're willing to sell it. So they don't have to bite us. They don't have an
Oh my
excuse to
goodness.
bite us because we're willing to sell our blood.
That's just really crazy concept of wow. Like I'm like you.
Yeah.
Okay, but before that was their excuse. Is they needed blood. They did not like. Now they can use cow blood, and some of the people remember we're going to talk about Greys for a second. The Greys also are a consumer of blood. Okay. But
What?
the good ones have converted to the new diet. The new diet and the old diet. The new diet, this is what is about all these cattle mutilations. The ones from the moon have been converted to cow blood now. That's why they steal cattle. Okay. The ones downstairs, they're still on the old menu. Okay.
Wow.
So, this is still the same. And this is the secret when we catch these creatures. They will not eat. And when we ask them, what do you eat? They will not tell us. And a lot of them will starve to death because they don't want to say, what do you eat? You. Okay, that's kind of a bad answer. You understand what I'm saying? Don't you?
Right.
Okay.
So Kathy says, where is the location of these vampires? She's worried now.
Okay, vampires live in cults. Okay, a cult group is like, vampire cults are everywhere. They normally stay in there. Okay, there's only one. Okay, in the British Museum. This is England, not here. They wiped out the Edinburgh vampire cult, and they embalmed the lady that was over it, and you can see her.
Wow.
Okay, and she was supposedly several hundred years old,
Really?
but they embalmed her, and you can see her. But she was over the Edinburgh, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't you? Okay, she was, but they wiped out that vampire cult because they was doing a lot of bad things. So vampire cults normally try to stay below the radar by not getting too crazy. If they get too crazy, is when the cattle like us get upset, and then the enforcers have to come in and clean things up.
Get a question here from UFOs. Jessica says, hi from Tijuana. Do you guys know a way to identify a real vampire? Like, how can we be safe? How do we know who the vampires are?
No, you can't. There's certain people. I know a girl who can sense them. If you ever been touched by a vampire, they mark you. Okay. And if you have a reading, if you ever came across one, they mark you because you've been marked by that clan. So if another clan come across you, they will leave you alone because you are marked by the other clan.
So the one who's behind me, I'm marked now.
If he marked you.
Oh, jeez.
Once you are marked.
I felt the touch.
Okay, and Lilith marks people too. Okay, so these people, they mark. And the mark is supposedly cannot be removed. Okay, but so these vampire cults they're just like a group. Normally they stay in a small group of 10, 12 individuals, and they're very selective about if they're going to add a member. And that's the reason it gets into what is called on the table or at the table. Because if they're asking you to join their group, are they asking you to join as a member or are you the dinner? You will not find out until
it's either
too late.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. So Cassandra's asking a question because she keeps going back to this, and I think there's something going on. You'll probably be able to tell.
Okay.
How do they mark you? Do you dream?
No
Do you have a dream of them when you're marked? Do you dream of those vampires once you're marked? Is that a common occurrence?
Okay. Normally.
I think that could be a communication form.
Okay. If you're marked by Lilith, one of her things that she likes to do. Lilith likes to hang around Ouija boards. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Lilith, if you're a girl and you're hanging, Lilith has a hatred of men. So if you're a man, you don't have to worry about this. But Lilith like to hang around Ouija boards. And if you're hanging around Ouija boards, and if you want a new Barbie doll, or if you want to sell your doll your soul for a Barbie doll, hey, that's a good deal. You can sell your soul for a mansion or a Cadillac or a Barbie doll, whatever. But Lilith, this is how she gets a lot of her people.
Okay.
And if you're marked by Lilith, what you will notice is every time you're getting sicker in the hospital, you'll be having these visions of this real old lady peeking around the corner looking at you, wondering how you're doing. Because at the time of death, she must claim you before you go up or down.
Oh my God,
she
that's
must
scary.
claim you in that.
Wow.
And you become part of what is called the Lily Two. The Lily Two is her. Vampire cults are run by females.
Okay.
This is why when we think of vampires, we only think of males. But the males don't. Everything on the dark side is run by women. Okay. You never see the women. You only see the men because the men are the hunters. The women you never see. Okay.
So many jokes that could be great now.
Okay, but the women control with the vampire cults, but the men are the ones we see because they do the hunting. Okay, the only time the women will come out, the women prey on powerful men or rich men or things like that. And they prey on them they have special abilities, okay? Because their thing is they have special things they know how to do to please. And that is how all these super rich guys, a lot of their mates are not what you think they are, okay? Because they have special abilities. They can, they'll rock your world. I won't just say that. Okay. And, okay.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know how to say it.
They have special abilities.
I got it. 2 questions. This one. Can you be marked at birth? Number 1, by a vampire.
Okay. If they're going to mark you at birth, that means they're planning on stealing you.
Okay. So that's a yes then. You can do that. And then Michelle's asking, what about tainted or irregular blood? Do they know, and does it matter to them? Okay.
Vampires, like everyone else, hate that monkey. Remember, we talk about if you're O negative or O positive.
Right.
They don't like that monkey. So their favorite people are people that are O negative, which is original human blood, A negative, B negative. If you're AB positive, they probably gonna leave you alone. Okay. Because what you're positive for is Rhesus monkey proteins in your blood. Okay. And they don't like, aliens hate the monkey, vampires hate the monkey, everybody hate the monkey. So if you're positive,
well, you're gonna have everyone checking their blood type now, making sure they're.
If you check your blood type, you want to keep it to yourself. Because if you're O negative, your dead body is worth a lot of money. You're worth more dead than alive if you're O negative, because you are a universal donor, and you can be cut up and sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you don't want to be telling everybody, I'm O negative, I'm O negative. You might have a slight accident.
Daphne has a question.
Okay.
Is that why Hillary and Bill are eating kids?
I'm not going into that, but these are rumors. But see, we don't know what is going on. There's all these rumors about what's going on in England with the royal family and whatever, and all this stuff. These cults still exist. The blue bloods are still there. Okay, but they do not. This is the reason why, especially if you're, a little orphan girl. Or a little boy and you're O negative, oh my gosh, it's just, okay. There's a lot of things you got to worry about. Okay.
You've listed most of them tonight, and I'm not going to sleep tonight. Thank you.
So we talked about one thing. Vampires are ruled by cults. Immortals are not ruled by cults. Immortals are ruled by something called the Great White Brotherhood. Okay. The Great White Brotherhood even have a location where they're located. Where they're located. I'm going to get in trouble for telling you this. They are located underneath the highest lake in the world, which is Lake Titicaca, which is on the Peru-Bolivian border. Is the deepest lake in the world. Underneath that lake is where their headquarters is located at. That is the worldwide headquarters for the Great White Brotherhood. And people thought that was crazy. They've been hearing this. Now, scientists have went at the bottom of that lake. There are buildings at the bottom of the lake. Nobody know how buildings got to be in the lake. For hundreds of years, people have seen people in white robes come out of the lake, go into the lake. Okay. This is where they are located. And this is what, we don't call them immortals. Their modern name is Ascended Masters. Okay. So, I am not going into who's ascended and who's not ascended. And there's certain books that talk about, when Jesus was a different person because he left for 40 days and 40 nights. And when he came back, he was a different person because he was not. Okay, I'm not going there. There's books that talk about that. I'm not going into this, this 72-day conversion versus 3 days and 3 nights. There's books that talk about that. I'm not going there. Okay.
Oh, man.
I asked them for direction on what I could or could not say. They did not give me no instruction. They just got pissed off.
So we might as well just talk about it then, because they're already
mad. Okay, they're already pissed off.
So yes. We might as well just go for it.
But remember, they don't get mad, they get even. Okay, so, but they got bigger problems, which we'll talk about another time. They're mad at some other issues, which we'll talk about down the road. And that might be why they're occupied with bigger fish other than me right now. But that is where they're located. Now, the problem is this, which we haven't discussed yet. And how much time we have? Oh, we're running out of time. Okay. The Bible says that all these creatures, once they die, they are dead. They do not qualify for a resurrection or whatever.
They're just gone.
We're going to define that. Remember, we used to have one giant life of 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. That was considered too hard, so they took our life and split it into chapters of 120 years. Okay. That's the reason reincarnation exists, because we come back.
Okay.
When you do the conversion, if you convert, you have to do some very bad things or piss some people off before they kick you out of the system and they announce to you how much time you have. Because normally you do not know how much time you have. If you're people will say you're a young soul, you're an old soul, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But once you get kicked out of the system, which I won't explain the ways you get kicked out, they will tell you how much time you have. I've been kicked out. I have 350 years left of life. Okay, but I don't have a body that can last that long. Now, if I was converted to vampirism, that's the maximum I could live with 350 years if I went through the conversion process.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Now, so what they try to do is find people who are young souls because they can live. Now, because if you find somebody that's 850 years old, even if you convert him, he doesn't have much life left.
Right.
Okay, so all these creatures only live until their time expire and then they're gone. Mm. This is the reason the Great White Brotherhood controls all of these shady creatures. Because the Great White Brotherhood has a device that no one has. They have an ascension chamber. Okay. And to get from the third, remember, there's no connection between elementary school to high school. There's no connection between high school and college. You have to be taken. That's the reason at the end of your life, if you have finished your 52 stages, 1,000 lessons, which we have going to discuss in a different thing, at the end of your life, the tunnel does not open. That's the reason people said, oh, there's an angel waiting for that person. Because if you're finished all of your things here, and if you're going to go to the next level, you must be taken to the next level. Okay.
In the ascension chamber.
Okay, for us, we must be taken there by an angel. Because the tunnel will only take you back upstairs. It won't take you to the other side. Now, to ascend, it talks about in certain books that in the future, once you have finished, perfect example. Hercules. Hercules was given the task what's his name? His name was, he withdrew the gods. He knocked off, his name was Apollo. Mm-hmm. He knocked off his dad. He took over the gods. He withdrew all the gods. They didn't want to take all of them with. There were some things that were just too crazy.
Okay.
Hercules was given the task of bumping off 7 things that they want to bump off. Mm-hmm. Okay. The lady with the snake hair and this and that. They didn't want her to join them. They had this list of people that they wanted eliminated. Hercules bumped off the 7 people that he was supposed to bump off. Okay. And then he was granted godhood and he ascended.
Through the chamber.
No, he did not use, because people upstairs, they don't need a chamber.
That's right.
Okay. Now, Muhammad, at the end of his mission, he did not die like Jesus did. He went to the Temple Mount and he ascended. Okay. Jesus died, and after he was resurrected, when he got finished talking to his apostles, he ascended.
Right.
We don't know how they're ascending, but they have one of those devices the Great White Brotherhood does. Because if you're on the dark side, you have no way to ascend, because the people upstairs is not going to let you ascend. You're stuck. But they have a chamber. So this is why they control all of that, because if you want to get in their chamber to ascend and not die, this is why Saint Germain is no longer here. Okay. He was out of time. He would have died. But as they say, Saint Germain have now ascended. Because his life was up. He was either going to die or he didn't want to die, so he ascended to the next level. And they have what is called an ascension chamber. And that's the goal of all demons or everybody, is that before their time is up, that they will, if they're good, not to the, but good to, they will be allowed to use the chamber to ascend, to go to the next level.
So basically...
Now what is that chamber? I'm going to slice it down. How it runs? I'm going to slice it down.
But you have to go through the 50 stages, right, to get there.
Okay, for us.
For us.
For us to go through the normal process, there's 52 stages and 1,000 lessons that we have to go through in life. Okay, once you have signed off, and that's what, I hate to say this, there's 2 queens. There's the Queen of Heaven and the Queen of Hell. The only way you can get out of here, she's the dean. She has to sign off that you have completed, just like if you're going to graduate from high school. Right. You got to go to the counselor, and she flips through and say, yes, you have completed everything. Yes, you will be graduating. Right. No. You need one more math course.
Wow.
Okay. Once the queen signs off all your paperwork, is when you are allowed to go from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade. And the 4th grade is either becoming a guardian angel or becoming a worker angel. That is the 4th grade after leaving here. Wow. But you have to have your paper signed off.
Or you got to come back, right?
Or you run out of time. Once your 1,000 years are over, you're going to be those electrons going through that light bulb up there.
Here's a question on topic, on topic, off topic. This is Ballerina, our friend Ballerina, all of us. One of my friends claims to have saw Medusa. Is there more than one Medusa?
We do not know. Okay, the problem is, as it says in the book of Enoch, that once the fallen angel sins with women, then they proceeded to sin with birds, fish, reptiles, and insects. Okay, so all of these creatures which are half this and half that, did they get rid of all of them or just some of them? Or we don't have the slightest idea.
Right.
And who made that decision and who was over that? So,
true.
how do you get half snake, half okay, that's some deep stuff right there. So I'm not over that department.
That's real.
So is there more of these creatures? Why did they want to bump her off and not? You get what I'm saying? I did not make that decision.
Hard to say, right?
But Hercules was given the task of bumping off 7 people and that was reason he was granted godhood. That's the reason Noah was not granted godhood. That's why we don't worship Noah, because he was not granted godhood. He died. He did not ascend.
That's amazing.
Okay. When they give you what you have to do, you do not ascend. To ascend, you have to be allowed.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Okay, this is crazy stuff. So
Crazy.
nobody's going to sleep tonight?
No. We're at the end of the hour, and I think we need part 2 to this show because this has blown me away. I know everybody in the everybody's talking about this. They're like, this is crazy.
I think we need part 2 to this
We
show.
gotta have part
honestly,
2.
I do.
Okay, if I'm still around next week. Okay, so is that what we want to do?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we can go ahead and do part 2 of this, and we will keep going, and y'all can ask your questions about the Blue Bloods and the Merovingians and this and that. We'll go deeper into this other stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to put off what we was going to talk about next week, and we will do part 2 of this next week.
I like that idea.
If I'm still here, if I'm not here,
he's gonna get me
one of
kicked out,
those
too.
enforcers got me.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to go into this.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, guys. So hey, wherever you're watching us,
And let me just make one comment. Okay, now, reason why I'm saying this is because it says in the Bible, in the end, that all things will be revealed. So I'm part of that project of revealing things. This is why the secret knowledge have to come out. Everything must be revealed before the end comes. But it doesn't have to be revealed all at the same time. So this is why some items I skip over.
So wait, so you're telling, and I know it says in the Bible, so you're telling me we're close to the end of days or near, huh?
Fire.
Near at the end, all things will be revealed. I think it said it. I think you answered right there. At the end.
There you
So
go.
we must be near the end if they're revealing
think so, with
all
everything
things.
that's happening and all the earthquakes that are happening.
All
crazy,
things must be revealed at the end. Okay.
welcome,
Next
guys.
week.
We'll see you.
We'll see you next
no
week.
matter where you're watching us, if it's on Spirit Realm on Facebook, spiritrealm.net or thespiritrealm.net, Periscope, YouTube. We'll see you next week.
And if you want
Love you
any, you can always reach me at ldlivsey at ldlivsey@gmail.com. I do readings and I do private consultation.
and lectures, and you can get in touch
And
with me
lectures.
about that as well. If you want
Yes.
to book Livsey for a lecture or a reading, you can get in touch with me
Yes.
as well, and I'll get them taken care
Excellent.
of. So, guys, love each and every one of you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.